You never did say to me that you love me. You only told me you want to dance. But the way you're rubbing up and massaging my body,
Yes.
feeling like you want to romance. And I don't like the rubbing up, and loving up. You try to make me a victim. You better dance if you're dancing. Rubbing is an illegal action. You better control your hand, change your plan.
Don't run me,
Rubbing down is out of bounds.
don't run me.
Gentlemen, keep your head on.
Remember, you only have to dance.
Why you looking for romance?
Dance me, but don't run me.
The rubbing. Let me tell you something. When you see life higher down, right? Just play Johnny King. Sing!
If you want to prove you are a good dancer, spinning and holding me close is fine. You did never get no consent to explore my figure. Necking and touching is out of line. But I don't like the rubbing up, and loving up. I am allergic to friction because it's a paining me for some rubbing. It's going to bring me heartache. Stop it for goodness sake. Take a break.
Don't run me,
Rubbing down is out of bounds.
don't run me.
Gentlemen, keep your head on. Remember, you only have to dance. Why you looking for romance?
Dance me, but don't run me.
The rubbing. Welcome to episode 140. Somebody at the Corey Shepherd. But at this point, you would think that I look for the episode number before I started, but we're not there yet in that level of organization. Let me go back to it. They might know better than me. Episode 140, 175. I thought we were 140 something. Welcome to episode 175 of the Corey Shepherd. 175 something like a milestone in the years. Raise your bat for them kind of numbers. I don't know. Listen, how the week was. Everybody good. And you know what I mean? I want you to start to expect a matter of fact, it makes sense talking about expecting that because you don't expect that already. See, the releases are a little sporadic. There's a lot going on. A lot is happening. But we're here. So when you catch it, right? And should I make up with volume? My man told me the other day, do 2 a week. I said, boy, I'm struggling to make the one. I'm struggling to get the one on time. I ain't sure if I'm going to make the 2 a week. But welcome back. I hope everybody had a great week. I hope we're having a productive week this week and all these things. You know what I mean? I hope everybody good. I take a little step out on the weekend. I'll tell you about that. You know, I don't come out too often. You know, so every time I come out, I just be shocked. And I have a theory about liming and shogunas. Anytime you come out of your house and you lime and shogunas and you bounce up Ian Allen, you're in the right place. All you see Ian Allen and Alexander get back together is like the leaving of the earlier say no more, what they call it, beyond the tape, and immediately men start to make back bedfellows and things. The political game, just like the media game, or this strange bedfellows, or it is politics have a morality of its own, like media have a morality of its own. I know. But whatever it is, let me jump into the things of this week now. I have some songs lined up for later player. I'll take a deep dive into Johnny King for some strange reason this week. I just end up listening to some Johnny King. And they have a particular song. Maybe before I even get into the issues of the week, right? Because most of what we had to talk about is KFC, right? I'm telling you now, it's about an hour to KFC. So if you're planning to boycott KFC, be prepared for this episode to make you feel for KFC. If you end up there, you're in some trouble, right? But I always remember, I was talking last week about meeting Mr. Cyrus and how interesting it was for me to meet him and, you know what I mean, hear him singing Golo and some of his compositions, right? And I tell you, like, just how you was telling the 10th story I was talking about last week, there are plenty men I bounce up over the years playing music and thing where them men have a little song, the song indecent, and this for some reason they never really break through. I suppose when you're looking at artists, like any other career or any other profession, the cream is right to the top. The cream is always the 1%, right? You have a 20% who on the fringes and you have a 1% who make it into superstardom, right? But sometimes when I hear a man's song, them songs just stick with me over the years. And I wonder, like, what would have caused that person to not get through in the 10s and get through in music? And this is a fellow who I hear his music. I'll tell you the strangest story, right? I was just living in St. James. Them days I live at Anderson Street, St. James, right? And if you know Anderson Street or if you know St. James at all, any area all you grew up in will be the same. Where, you know, it has some mechanic who's work from the side of the road, street side mechanic, right? There's a big thing here. And they had a mechanic on the street named Andy. Andy used to pull in his either copper and them yard and he fixing car right on the street itself or by Moko, you know what I mean? Right in the area, the men who live in the area and could, handy men supporting and helping Andy, but Andy's a real mechanic. Andy know the mechanic work and them thing, right? Right there, but right across from Andy, there's a fellow named Durham, right? Further down the street, so look my guy Durham. And it's a little zone on a Saturday morning. There's a zone where everybody come together to get a car fixed and think, no, well, let's just buy a new car, you know, a little fixed car and them kind of thing again. You just, whenever the car expires, you buy a new car. But back in them days, the Saturday morning is a vibe because everybody bonnet up, people taking a little drink, they're liming and them kind of thing. And I always remember this fellow telling me about a song he played. He sing a song, he sing and record a song, right? And I guess in my simple mind back then, when I hear a man sing a song and he's not a superstar, I started to get annoyed. I was like, oh God, this is going to be one of them rampadam thing, you know what I mean? It didn't sound good at all, right? But I want to play the song that the man played for me because he ended up playing that song the whole Saturday morning. Now, I don't know him. I don't know if the other, like Andy and them had know who he was and so. The name of the man is Gary Cordner, right? Closely tied to Johnny King as well. But the name of the guy is Gary Cordner. And he started playing a song there. And that song stick with me all over the years. And I just so happened to be doing a Johnny King deep dive this week. And I bounced up this song. I want to play this for all you know because I like it bad. I hope all you like it too.
Yeah. Think to wine and jam. Think to hold your hand. Hey. We bringing love in the party. Feeling good.
Yes.
Where I should. It all happened so suddenly. Can't believe it happened meant to me. I take one look at your body, girl, you don't know what you're doing to me. I feel to hold on and whine. I talk in my mind. You look so fine. I feel to hold on and whine. Talk in my mind. Girl, you look so fine. I feel to. I want to. I feel to.
Hold on. Salute to Gary Cordner, big song. Just so our memory come to my mind. I had to share it with you, right? So I want to get into this KFC saga, right? We are planning to talk about KFC today, so prepare to be hungry. I don't know what time always listen to this. I hope it's not late in the night and you're going to order a KFC, but it seems to be the case that Trinidadians are sticking to their guns and boycotting KFC. I've seen on social media all over Twitter and thing, pictures of empty KFCs. Now, do you think about the empty KFC pictures I've seen it looking like it's late in the night when KFC closed? You know what I mean? You know, tricky that, it ain't easy. But a faking a protest might be just as good as a protest or a boycott, right? But it for all intents and purposes, even places like KFC downtown that's open 24 hours and always have people in it. You're seeing empty shelves in the KFC. You know what I mean? Empty lines, no more queues. You know what I mean? People staying away. I have a few theories on that, right? I'm going to get into some economic theory and some marketing theory, right? To talk about why this not going to last and the prices going to hold and all that, right? But let me start by talking about Prestige Holdings recording increased profits, right? Prestige Holdings records 56% profit increase. This is from Shweta Sharma, right? For the financial year 2023, Prestige Holdings recorded a profit before tax of $84 million compared to $54 million in 2022. Listen, impressive, you know? Impressive. In 2 years, they may make $138 million profit. I like it. And that's rate profit before tax, right? So the government going with about 30% of that. So them men sitting on $100 million in 2 years out of snack box and these things, right? According to its published consolidated audited financial results for the 12 months ended November 30th, 2023, PHL's revenue increased by 20% to $1.3 billion from $1.1 billion. Billion with a B, right? B as in boy. We buy $1 billion worth of fast food within a year period. That is $1.3 billion. $1,300,000,000. That's what 1.3 stand for. So we clearly in this country have a affinity and a love for fast food. If you have a country of 1.3 million people and we spending $1.3 billion on KFC, you do that math for me now. Divide that by that and tell me how much each individual spending on fast food in a year. I didn't say KFC alone, sorry, Prestige Holdings as a whole. We go talk about all the businesses that Prestige Holdings owns, right? The financial year was one of investment and growth. There has been significant effort and success towards returning our business operations to pre-pandemic levels and achieving sustainable growth and profitability, PHL said. PHL generated $182 million cash flow statements and so on. Chairman Christian Mouttet, in his report, said all our brands posted significant operational and financial improvements over the year. The group's overall profitability at $84 million was a historical high and reflective of the investments in our people and assets. Keyword here, historical high, right? That means that while they were trying to get, because I remember coming here and talking about this during the pandemic and Prestige Holdings, I can't remember if I was looking at quarterly losses or significant drop-offs in profit. If I remember right, it was quarterly losses, right? During the pandemic where, of course, where they closed and you have a whole set of overheads that you can't do anything about. Your property cost is your property cost and so on. You're not going to avoid that even though your restaurant's closed. So I want to believe it's losses I was reading about it. But either way, what they're saying here is that they have surpassed the levels they were at before the pandemic. So in other words, they're at their highest levels now. PHL operates the KFC. So here the thing they're running, right? They're running KFC, Pizza Hut, Subway, Starbucks, and TGI Fridays. So you think about it when you think you're making a fast food choice as to where to go and which, you know what I mean? Which place you want to buy at, and you know what I mean? You're feeling for Subway, you're feeling for KFC. All of them contributing to the profitability of Prestige Holdings as a whole. I want to make it clear as well that Prestige Holdings is also on the stock exchange, right? So for all of you who feel like boycotting KFC is the answer to avoid, well, it's your money. We all have to make a decision about where we spend our money, right? So if you feel like the price is going up, which I'll get to, and boycotting it is the answer to keep your money in your pocket, avoid or force the price back down so you could continue to enjoy your thousands of dollars worth of KFC every year. Remember as well that one of the options we always have is that you could go on the stock exchange and buy Prestige Holdings shares. A share in Prestige Holdings is cheaper than a snack box. One share is $10.50, right? So if for instance, 1.3 billion divided by 1.3 million is $1,000 a person, right? I know how good my maths is, right? If you take that same $1,000 a year, you could get yourself a good bit of shares in Prestige Holdings year by year, and instead of, and I'm not knocking the idea of boycotting. I'm saying instead of just boycotting KFC so that they stop raising the prices and annoy you and mash up your budgets and you know what I mean, and the price gouging and all the different things I read in these articles, one of the options you have is also to become an owner of Prestige Holdings and benefit from the love of KFC, Subway, Starbucks, Pizza Hut, and TGI Fridays that Trinidadians seem to have, you know what I mean? I was seeing somewhere that they own Linda's too, but their website doesn't say anything about Linda's. Let me see if I can find who owns Linda's Bakery. Because if they own Linda's too, that would be particularly impressive. I ain't seeing no news on who owns Linda's here, no? But Prestige have enough coverage and enough of a hold on Trinidad and Tobago to earn themselves multiples when you're looking at profitability. $100 million worth of profit after tax over 2 years is impressive. Don't care how you slice it. No pun intended, right? In 2024, PHL plans to open 2 more Starbucks outlets in Guyana and new stores in Trinidad and Tobago. If I am not mistaken, I do not think they own the KFC franchise in Guyana. Oh, they have it here. At the end of the year, PHL had 134 restaurants including 5 new units, 4 Starbucks outlets in Trinidad and Tobago, and 1 outlet in Guyana. Well, there are more than 4 here now. Or there's just some more new units. Starbucks has a good bit of outlets here now, right? Additionally, we also completed 3 KFC remodels and relocated 1 Starbucks outlet during the period. In 2024, they plan to open 2 more Starbucks outlets in Guyana and 2 new stores in Trinidad and Tobago. Looking forward, we expect to build on the progress made last year and also continue our new store and remodeling investment program. Based on financial performance, PHL has announced a dividend of 30 cents per common share. So when sometimes I take it for granted that everybody know how these things work, right? And sometimes I also feel like explaining these things is real rudimentary. So I will default to explaining it, right? Forgive me if I'm just talking about things that is common knowledge, right? When you buy a stock, it has 2 ways to make money. The 2 ways you're making money is basically what you call capital appreciation. So if you buy that PHL share for $10.50, the share price could go up to $15, which means you make 50% basically on your money, right? So you buy it for $10, you sell it for $15, right? It's just like buying and selling any other commodity and making a profit in a business, right? You buy some t-shirts, you sell that, you make a profit, right? The shares tend to go up in price when they have a good outlook on future performance. So if you feel like that company going to do good, or the companies that PHL owns, they're going to do good over the next few years or whatever it is, you could expect that the price will go up. So I only feel like Prestige Holdings will do good over the next, over the foreseeable future, especially when you have green markets like Guyana there, where they currently experiencing a boom, and if Prestige Holdings has a franchise to open Starbucks in Guyana, I could hazard a guess that Guyana and Starbucks going to go well together. Because if we just look at our own trajectory, how we grew up and how we live versus how we are now, we experience a boom. Some of us in our time when we were small, right? And in that boom, we stopped cooking home. Everybody in the household started to work. And we get more and more frustrated, we get more and more money, and we need more and more coffee, right? And we need more and more fast food, and we had to eat and we can't eat and we run, and you're doing classes on a weekend and your masters on a Sunday. The Starbucks and them probably going to do very well in Guyana. And if they only franchise for that, you had to look at the Guyana market and say, well, all right, if Trinidad had 12 Starbucks, how much of them Starbucks Guyana could hold and make that, the experts will look forward and try to determine what is that $10.50 share price? What will it look like at the end of next year? You tell me if you feel it will go up or not. The other way you're making money when you buy a share is through dividends, right? When that company make profits, they will typically allocate some part of the profit to dividends. Dividend is basically a share of the profit. So they say everybody here getting 30 cents per share. Sometimes you might see dividends stated as a percentage. So they might say, all right, here we're going on. Of all the money we make, we $100 million, we're going to put 2.5% as dividends, and then you split it up according to how much shares you have. So you could earn 30 cents per share. And dividends is tax-free money. You know, Trinidad, like a tax-free dollar. Dividends is tax-free, right? So if you take your money and invest it in that, is another way to benefit from that. He say shareholders approval bring the total dividends payable for the financial year to 45 cents. So they declared 30 cents, I believe, for, well, they're saying 45 cents here, right? Which means they would have declared 15 cents sometime during the year, and now they declared additional 30 cents. So for the year, again, 45 cents on the share. Not on the dollar, on the share. So for every share you own, you collect a 45 cents. You do the multiplication and tell me how much shares you'll have to have for the dividend to mean something for you, or to do something for you, or to offset the additional price that you're paying in KFC a year. So if, for instance, my calculation, right, and the average household, or the average individual in Trinidad spending $1,000 on KFC, right, by my rough and crude maths, right? And let me say your household have 4 people. That means you're spending $4,000 a year on KFC basically in your household, right? If there's a 45 cents dividend, you could actually offset any increases in price or your whole cost of your KFC experience, which we love so much, by owning shares in Prestige Holdings. And I using KFC loosely, right? Because I would assume that KFC is the flagship in their portfolio, meaning the biggest company with bringing in the most profits and have the most revenues. But keep in mind that there's KFC, Pizza Hut, TGI Fridays, Subway, and Starbucks. So forgive me for the little boring start and thing, but I find it such an interesting discussion that we always take this approach as consumers collectively. The thing is, business happens we. You know what I mean? We're not affecting business or doing business. Sometimes, like collectively, right? I'm not talking about people individually. I'm just saying that the general discussion on social media seems to always be, oh God, they raise the prices again, we go boycott. And that's useful. That's useful. But it's also useful to try to find out a little more about these companies and see how we could become beneficiaries. How you say that? Fishery is all right. Beneficiaries? How you say that? We could benefit from this thing too. We could be part of the business and be part owners of Prestige Holdings and enjoy these little things. I also remember maybe just before Carnival or whenever it was, like maybe last budget, when they talk about increasing minimum wage. I was talking about the fact that minimum wage increases is a snuffle for us. You remember Snuffy from how they call the show? Is a Snuffy. It does not mean a whole lot, right? When you increase minimum wage. I want to put it to you that when you increase minimum wage, what you tend to do is push up the average price of products, particularly consumer products. I'll talk about the types of products today, right? It's a real class today, you know, going into lecturing mode. I might cancel class Saturday and just let them listen to this, right? But the reality is this. If you had $20 an hour before, let me say you was making $5,000 a month before, and I give you $10,000 a month now, and I give everybody else the same $10,000 a month now, just double everybody income, right? What do you think going to happen at these stores? I always say when back pay come, court's going to get money. This is real economic theory. The issue is that if you have the same amount of things to buy in the country, the same amount of products are there and available for everybody, and everybody get more money, right? The same level of productivity is there. What tends to happen, what will always happen is that what will people do is bid up the price of the existing goods. I had an economic lecturer named Mr. Ramsing, right? Mr. Ramsing was one of the greatest economic teachers I ever had. Salute to Mr. Ramsing in Fatima. And Mr. Elder too, elders. You remember Elder? Great. So they used to use, Mr. Ramsing used to use this example of cork, right? Like, you know, he's cork back a bottle of wine. He says, so if you have a big block of cork, he used to ask the class, you have this big block of cork, right? And all this song kind of suspect, you know, pause. But if you have this big block, I mean, what you going to do with that? They have no value. In other words, he asking us, if we had $10 now, how much we would pay for this big block? And everybody is like, zero. Nobody don't want that. Like, what would you want that to do? I don't own a winery. I don't know what to do with this big block of coke. And so he said, all right, cool. So let me change the scenario. If I carry all out down the islands and halfway to reaching Monos Island, I throw everybody off the boat. Everybody's still at the same $10, right? He said, and I throw the block of coke out in the sea and I tell you, listen, how much you're willing to pay for that? No. Everybody say $10 because the reality is that now is life-saving. I need that floating device to save my life. So I'll pay any amount of money for that. And hold on to that and float down Monos and let the rest of them drown, right? I go pay the $10, right? So a few issues coming out there at the same time. Number one, what he was trying to teach us is a concept called elasticity of demand, right? He was trying to tell us, listen, demand have a way, according to the type of product that you're selling. It has some products that are very, very important to you, and it has some products that are not that important to you. So call it necessities and so on. It's according to what the product will do for you in the end. That determines what a change in the price of the product will do for you. So he's saying that basically in this scenario we're talking about where we sit down in the classroom and you have a block of coke, that product had no value at all. You're willing to pay nothing for it. But when he changed the scenario and he changed the level of necessity by putting in the sea and he put the cork out there for us to float, I feel I should just say floating device. I don't like how this song is, but he put the floating device out there for us. Now people willing to pay for it. So the way we look at elasticity is I want to see when a price changes, how much does it affect people's willingness to pay for the item? Or how much does it affect the demand for the item, right? Because demand is just a want-or need backed by the ability and willingness to pay for it, right? So that concept about elasticity is so important in economics because when I change that scenario and the floating device become critical, people will spend any money they have. Before I go on further with that, let me explain this thing about price increases, right? If I was to change the price to $20, and I was to, or if I was to give everybody more money, right? Instead of giving everybody $10, I give them $100. What do you think happens if I throw that floating device? No, rather than just paying $10 for it, everybody would be willing to pay $100 for it. That is the same thing that happens when you increase the minimum wage. All you do is, because all I have is the one floating device. So if they have somebody who have more money than everybody else in the water they're drowning, that person going to pay whatever they have. It doesn't matter if I give them $10, I give them $100, I give them $1,000. The price of that one floating device going to continue to increase every time I give them drowning people more money. The only way to manage that price, that pressure on the price, right? That upward pressure on the price is to make more floating devices available, right? All things being equal, right? If I make more floating devices available for everybody, or I give an alternative to a floating device, so they have instead of just the cork, I have a life jacket. I have different types of things that they could use to float, or even teach them how to swim. If they have alternatives, that could then affect the demand for the thing. But once I have the thing, and it's essential to people and it's in limited supply, the price of it going to continue to press up and up. I hope this is making sense, you know? So the other part of it going further into elasticity is that if I increase the price of that product, the demand not going to fall off by much. So if it is, I say, listen, I only had this one little floating device, but instead of selling it for $10, I sell it for $30 now, you know. It is not going to affect how much the people need it and how much they're willing to pay for it, because it's called an inelastic demand, right? When I raise price, the demand does not fall off by much. What's going to happen is the drowning class, he used to explain to us, Mr. Ramsing, say, what all you go do now if you only had $10? 3 men go come together, put together the $10 and say, well, 3 we could float and it look like we go make it. And who the fastest to do that is the one who will get the floating device. So when you have situations like that where the demand not responsive to changes in price. You change in price, typically when price go up, demand is go down, right? But when price not responding, when demand doesn't respond much to price, then price changes don't make a huge difference to how much money these people will make. So the question is this: is KFC as important as a floating device in the water? I want to say for Trinidadians, the answer is clearly yes. KFC, Subway, Starbucks, Pizza Hut, and TGI Fridays, clearly, is some of the most important products we ever had in Trinidad and Tobago, right? Well, the issue is not so much of a factor of it is importance, because all of us busy, we on the road for long periods of time, is inconvenient to cook and work with food every day. KFC is ubiquitous, you know, it's available everywhere you turn is a KFC and stuff. And we have a taste preference, it seems like, for spicy, crispy chicken and them kind of things, right? And the marketing and all that good. But a part of the issue that's caused the inelasticity in products like KFC is that even though the thing is, I see a girl say, imagine $52 for a 3-piece with fries. I used to just pay $35 the other day, and I want to say sweets. I used to pay $19.99 for a 3-piece with fries, you know what I mean? When we buy I remember when KFC snack box went up to $11. I couldn't believe it. I thought, I said, we're good dead. That used to be under $10 for a snack box, a 2-piece with fries. Anybody else remember this, or this is just me? $11. I was shocked out of my wits. Like, what is happening? I remember talking to Ronald, Saluma Barber, Ronald the other day, and I telling Ronald, I say, boy, KFC, and them, I want to just pay my $4 for the delivery. Yes, he's like, Corey, $4? He's like, when last you order KFC? And he told me the delivery fee is $20 or whatsoever it is. Now I haven't checked. But the issue here is not just the taste and preferences and the importance of the product and all those types of things. The issue here, and the convenience and all that. A part of the issue is that even at $50 now, $50 is a very small amount compared to your overall monthly budget, right? The minimum wage takes the lowest income earner in this country, by my probably incorrect calculation, if they work at 8-hour days and 5 days a week, I think they're supposed to land somewhere at 30-something hundred. I'm probably wrong about that, right? But check me back on the figures. They're supposed to land somewhere at 30-something hundred. check $50 as a percentage or 30 something hundred. Let me use 4,000 as a rough example, right? If I say $50 as a percentage of 4,000, I'm looking at 0.0125. What was that as a percentage? 1%? I like to talk about 1%. But KFC and them things is a real small part of your budget. Typically, consumer products like this that make up such a small part of the consumer income, it's not consequential enough on its own for consumers to pay diligent attention to how much they pay for the product or not. And it's easy for people, they like to say that there's a Trinidadian thing and Trinidadians don't know how to stand up for their rights and think, okay, but what I'm saying is, it's easy for you to start to ignore minimal price changes in them kind of zones where it's a small part of your income and use things like convenience and things to justify it because you're on your way home, you're boycotting it, yes, but you're on your way home, it's $20, you just buy it. You're on your way home and them trying quarreling and saying, just get them trying a zinger, you know what I mean? Get them trying a popcorn chicken, get that up in you. You need something healthy and you didn't feel to go and cut up, just go somewhere and get a little salad, you know what I mean? Or you're like me, you want to cook fancy thing and every time you try to cook salmon, it's hard like stone, just go and get a Jack Daniels up in you, you know what I mean? It's just easier and more convenient. And these things are a relatively small part of the budget. All the different things that I described lead to consumer products typically are inelastic, right? They're typically inelastic in demand, meaning that changes in price do not typically lead to very big changes in demand. You tend to find that a large change in price leads to a smaller than equal change in quantity demanded. How a song? I represent Ramsing well. Only people who know the economics will tell me how bad a song is. Let me talk about some marketing now before I get back to that, right? In marketing, there are different types of products, right? Typically in marketing, we talk about 4 types of products. It's called convenience products, shopping products, specialty products, and unsought products, right? And you typically have a type of marketing plan template for what type of product you're selling. So when we go into marketing or talking to people about doing their marketing, the first thing you had to try to identify in consumer products, that is I'm going to say consumer products, I mean you're selling to somebody who's taking it for consumption, not a business-to-business situation, right? B2C. The first thing we usually identify is what type of products are you selling. Is it convenience, shopping, specialty, or unsought? Let me talk about unsought first, right? That's the easiest and most difficult one. The unsought product is products that people don't really know they need or don't really accept that they need, or they don't like to talk about it. Like, we ain't here forever, right? We ain't here forever. So one of the things that we absolutely need is some kind of thing to take us out of here, right? Me know if it's a box, a casket. Me know how you plan to go. But to go, you will. But we don't like talking about that. So we don't like going into, you know what I mean? A young, healthy man don't just go in by guides and say, well, you have for me here, but well, you put on something for my whole. You don't really like to think that way. Life insurance is another one of them things. When you're young and you have everything good for you and trying to buy no life insurance, you know what I mean? You feel you're going to live forever. You start to make a child, you have a property, all of a sudden, you need life insurance. So life insurance and those types of products is what you call unsought products. Meaning that customers in their day-to-day activity don't go looking for products like those to buy. You're not looking for nothing like that to buy. It does not cross your mind. You need it, but there's nothing in the day-to-day life that spurs that need on where you say you want and start shopping for it, right? So the other three, and that means your marketing plan for those products, it is variable. You're not sure how to approach that because some people don't even like talking about that, right? So a lot of marketing plans come in the area of these 3 types of products: convenience, shopping, and specialty. A convenience product is typically a product that makes up a small percent of the average income or the average household income. People typically buy it in small quantities. You buy repeated amounts. We typically stick to certain brands or certain product formats. We buy them often. So as an example, right? Everything you see in the grocery, when you go in JT or Massey or any of them, all that whole shelf filled with is convenience products, ketchup and mustard and bread and egg and ham and ice cream and all them things is convenience products. Small items, a small percentage of your budget. In marketing, the reason they call them convenience products is because what drives the buying decision is convenience. We like to say that we prefer one brand over the next. All those things matter, yes. But what matters most to the consumer in that case is convenience. I always use the example in class of doubles men, right? And I ask people, what's the best brand of doubles? What's the best brand of doubles in the country? And I listen to them debate about thing and Green Shed and DB and this one and thing. And everybody says St. James and I know good doubles and Arima did the studio channel and all kind of different things they say about doubles and them thing, eh? But the number one driving decision or the buying decision, the purchasing decision for doubles, the number one thing is not taste. So I like to tell them all doubles is the same. The taste is not enough for you to distinguish one doubles man from the next, or for one doubles man to be out superior the rest of the market. Cannot happen. It don't matter how good it's tasting. It matters if it's tasting good past a baseline, right? Let me don't leave all with that because I know that usually cause arguments in class. But the most important part of and my conclusion to that discussion is the best doubles it have is the one more closest to you that tasting good enough. So if you have a few close to you, you will buy the best tasting one in your zone. But what you're not going to do, if you're a man like doubles and every morning you eat doubles, what you're not going to do is leave where you living in a Rima to go buy no Green Shed and Debe, to buy no doubles, to go back to work. Because doubles is a convenience product. How song now? I'm gonna send this in as I'm sending this to schools because right now I need a next job, right? I'm sending this to schools as my demo for why I should be lecturing in them school, right? I need another income. So sorry, but this is my demo tape for any school that willing to take more. I'm a assassin for hire right now. So that's why you call it a convenience product. You buy it based on convenience. Think about how you buy any grocery. You go in your Massey and your JTA and your Passads and your, who else they have? The big boys to do your month-end groceries because it's convenient for you to get a nice park and drive a big trolley and have a big aisles because you're going to pack up a big set of food to carry home, right? That's convenient for you. It is not convenient for you to go in them big grocery when you just have to buy one or two items during the week and it'll produce and a little shadow benny finish on them thing. It's more convenient for you to go buy a little fruit stall or what so you call them market or a little small Chinese grocery in the area. Largely because all those items, your driving force behind how you buy them is based on convenience. A shopping product different, right? And I would just want to say that KFC, Subway, Starbucks, who's the next one doing? Pizza Hut. And I want to say in some cases TGI Fridays, right? I ain't sure where to put TGI Fridays, but most of them is convenience products, right? And one of the reasons why KFC is the most dominant chicken people in the country is not because they have the best tasting chicken. Not that alone. It's because they have the most locations. It is more convenient for you to buy KFC. No matter where you are in Trinidad, it's more convenient for you to reach a KFC than it is to reach any other brand. They consistently make it more convenient to buy from them. You want to add to how convenient they're making it? They give options to buy it drive-through, to deliver to you, to come in and buy it, to get curbside. They do the things to make it more and more convenient. So even though you have a Royal Castle and you have a Japs and you have a churches and things, they have more locations and the locations more convenient to access because you don't have to come out your motor car to buy the thing. You know what else they make it convenient? And me don't even like KFC that much, you know. But they make a little app on your phone, right? And with the app, you just select where you want. You don't have to talk to nobody. You think bam, 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 and you pay with your credit card, and the thing done, and then they deliver the food home. So when I have workmen working here, and I'm not home, and I need to get food for them, I could do that bam, 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 deliver so, and I tell the workmen and them, boy, here, well, just go and collect your food. You ain't have to worry about nothing. I don't pay for it already. You know what I mean? You can send gifts. So all they're doing is their marketing strategy is about how do I make it more convenient to buy. I'm not saying the taste don't matter. I'm just saying it don't matter as much as convenience. Because if KFC, as great as it tastes, and only had one location in Trinidad, they can't make no $100 million worth of profit because nobody ain't going by that one location except the people who live in right in and around there, right? So shopping products, I will go through the next two fast because what I want to talk about more is convenience products. Shopping products is more items that are bigger percentage of your income. Sometimes it's more than your monthly income. It's a big percentage of your annual income. It's an item that you intend to keep for a long time. And it matters to your sense of self and your sense of personality and worth and well-being and so on. So when you're talking about motor car and fridge and all the appliances in your kitchen, so the bigger things, the furniture and them kind of things, even things like houses, like you're looking for apartments or you're looking for a house, those products are not the same as convenience products. People are price sensitive when it comes to those things. They are brand conscious. They look very carefully at what they're buying. They compare options. Sometimes they do a spreadsheet and they say, well, all right, this place, the ups and downs of this is that. The ups and downs of this fridge is that. So those types of items you value more than just convenience. You value the shopping experience. This is where Quartz and these fellas do a great job, because Quartz makes the shopping experience better. They have enough locations. They're not KFC kind of locations, but they have enough locations where you can take a drive and come, and they know you're willing to take a drive and come because you want to do the shopping. They have a huge showroom with people to help you and warranties and guarantees and so on, so you could feel better about your life. Because when you're going to spend, how much for a fridge now? Whenever you're going to spend fridge money or car money, you're worried. Tell me if it's true or not now. If you're anything like me, you're going to buy a car, you're frightened. You're frightened to spend that money. And if you go make the payment and you have to take loan and you have insurance, there's a whole lot that goes into buying a shopping product. So you're more invested in it. And a specialty product is like your engagement ring. You buy those on special occasions. You buy them from time to time. They're typically very expensive compared to your budget. You're hugely brand conscious. It is even more tied to your sense of self and so on. So you would spend a long time trying to determine what happens with that specialty product. Moral of the story is this. When you go from convenience, which is at the next end of the specialty, when you go to convenience products, we don't put that amount of thought in it. Think about it. We brand switch relatively easy. You have your favorite brand of ketchup and thing. Yeah, so you like. Is a man like Dasani. When you go anything, you drink Dasani and thing. But if you're thirsty and you're going to shop and it handle Dasani, you'll just say, hey, give me the blue water, whatever kind of water you have. You might call for the thing by format and not by brand. So you just say, let me get a soft drink, let me get a water, let me get a juice. What kind of juice you have? And your flavor come before the brand. So you might say, well, yeah, pineapple. And then you watch you say, nah, I bear fruit, I don't really drink bear fruit. So with convenience products, your ability to switch in between there and think high, small price changes you're probably not even going to notice. Let me repeat that, right? When the men make price changes and things, you probably ain't going to even notice that, right? Whereas with a shopping product, that's not going to happen. You don't leave home to go and buy a KitchenAid fridge and come home with 2 Whirlpool because the price small. So when I hear this story about boycott, I always wonder like how long these things going to last, because if price is the reason that you feel you could boycott KFC for a long time, you're probably not going to be able to sustain that. Not because Trinidadian greedy and we don't stand for your rights. That is not the reason. The reason that we cannot sustain boycotts based on price for convenience products is because price is not the driving factor behind why you buy a convenience product. What it is again, class? Convenience. It is convenience. And it is a huge inconvenience to boycott somebody like KFC if you're accustomed to that, to getting food on your run and his back. It is a huge inconvenience. So eventually, the willpower and thing to deal with that inconvenience runs out and we run back and buy it. What I will give people credit for it, and I'm not saying they can't, and I'm also not saying that if they don't, KFC wouldn't buckle. The KFC understand the kind of product they're selling and they understand how to market it, so they know that it's not sustainable, this idea of a boycott. They also know that they are the market leaders. So when they announce a price change, everybody else will announce a price change. I see receipt coming out from Royal Castle. Now, me know how true it is, but the chicken going up, $5 for pepper, $2 for ketchup. I hope that Royal Castle not doing that. I mean, that would be bad. Because one thing we're serious about here is condiments. Because we make them push back on the condiments the other day and they say the condiments free now. KFC did they try to charge for condiments, or did they say that they no longer offer condiments? But we're serious about ketchup and mustard and pepper in this country. So that you ain't going to get away with. But price, it is going to be very difficult for people to sustain a protest on price for KFC. KFC could hold out and they go wait and they go, you know what I mean? And it's likely to get back to normal. You want me to tell you when it will get back to normal? They have an exam coming up where the reward for the exam, at least in my time, used to be, you know what I mean? Let me carry them KFC and let them enjoy themselves and eat something. No, it seems to be that people have, you know what I mean? People having. So they go head back to TGI Fridays instead of KFC. What I think would have led to the the way this protest looking, or this boycott looking, compared to the boycotts that we've seen before. Because we've seen KFC increase price. People say they're not going to buy, and then within days it goes back. Now it's taking up more than a few days. This is what I feel is leading to this boycott, and it's not to do with price. Let me read the article for you. Prestige Holdings distances itself from tasteless social media posts. Alex Mouttet not affiliated with company. Hey boy, you know. It's easy to be in a family, right? It's easy to be a part of a family. And you're getting ousted because you're going and you talk loose. And the family basically had to come out and make us stay. After they don't scold you in the background and tell you, boy, what are you doing? What's going on with you? Now they had to come and tell you, listen, we're going to make a statement here saying we ain't had nothing to do with you. So you had to pat down 100%. Prestige Holdings has distanced itself from a social media post by a user bearing a surname similar to its chairman. Which similar to its chairman? Who wrote this article? The man name is Mouttet and the chairman name is Mouttet. Anyway, Prestige Holdings has distanced itself from a social media post by a user bearing a surname similar to its chairman, which sought to disparage roti vendors and doubles vendors while defending the recent increase in prices at KFC. The post, which was shared numerous times on social media, attracted responses from vocal businessman Inshan Ishmael and economist Dr. Indira Sagewan. I hope I pronounced that somewhere close to right. Prestige Holdings, however, issued a statement to clear the air on the matter. Prestige Holdings is aware of a recent negative post on social media coming from a profile bearing the name Alex Mouttet. This profile is in no way affiliated with Prestige Holdings, and the remarks being posted under it are not reflective of Prestige Holdings or its values. We can confirm that no one behind that name is involved. No one behind that name is involved in the management or ownership of KFC, of Prestige Holdings, sorry. What caused the post to garner attention is that people sought to link the user to the chairman of Prestige Holdings, Christian Mouttet. The Mouttet family, like Prestige Holdings, respects and celebrates the efforts of all individuals to generate a better life for themselves and their families, it stated. The entrepreneurial spirit is the foundation stone upon which all companies in Prestige Holdings operate. We believe the principles of competition and respect for all individuals and businesses within our country. The sentiments also reflect the view held by our chairman, Mr. Christian Mouttet, and the wider family. According to the press release, Prestige Holdings said it remains singularly focused on serving its customers and communities to the best of its ability. We thank you for your continued support of our restaurant and our people. So, coinciding with the increase in price, what we saw was a huge social media uproar and brouhaha and blowback that said KFC improves the price again, and people was upset by that, right? That is quite normal. Every single time we hear about a price increase in KFC or any market leader with a big name like KFC and a name that's so easy to call because it's so well marketed, there's typically going to be a social media uproar. Even before social media, there was public uproar on the street corners and barbershops and hairdressing places when KFC increased the price from $11 for a snack box, right, to $15. We just talk about that on the block before social media. It's a social issue when our most convenient fast food restaurant raises their price. But what typically happens is the social issue rises up and it falls right down. I can see Jason Williams interviewing a fella and he said, boy, I know that macaroni pie and stew peas. And notice that the fella in the interview never say he cooked that. He say he just buy that from a fella who's selling. So it's not that you boycott KFC and you stop buying food. You just buy it from somebody else, which is an option. I think that happening now, right? And more and more people will say that. People will say they cook home. People will say they fed up at KFC anyway and they don't buy that and then sales will go back to a normal level by the next month and long weekend, public holiday, whichever one come first, sales will go back to normal and they will be reporting again hundreds of millions of dollars. Because remember that with price having gone up several times before, during and after COVID, they still reported in 2023 the highest levels of revenue they ever had, 1.3 billion, and the highest levels of profit that they ever had, 180 something million is what they say, over the few years. So The issue for me here is not so much the price increase that would have come and died on. Is really the statement. Let me read the statement that Alex Mouttet make. Right. Notice they never say he's not part of the family. They say he's not part of the ownership or he's not part of the management. Right. But Alex Mouttet, in response to this brouhaha on social media about price this and price that and who thing and KFC the wicked and the thing and them 1% and people start to take off on social media. And I would think that the Christian Moutets of this world was just going to ignore that because they've seen this many, many times before. They will also probably just monitor how much the sales falling off within the period of the announcement, which they would have catered for in their meetings. When they say, all right, we're going to announce this, they probably time very carefully when they're going to make that announcement. They know what their sales cycle is in a monthly, on a monthly basis already. Them know month end real KFC is selling real this and real TGI and them thing. And about the second week of the month all around NIS time, it is slow down with nobody set of money and thing. I could guarantee you that if you go back and you track when KFC makes their announcements about increasing prices, it is closer to a mid-month than it is to a month. And they must time the mid-month and then time the fortnight cycle and say, well, this is times they would have been not buying much anyway. And let me give them enough time to ventilate this issue and talk about it and be upset on them. Think we understand, we like we customers and things, and we understand they could be upset. But we also understand that when the 25th hit and money in man pocket, when men are the dongo longo, they's going to buy KFC, right? So let me read this statement from Alex Mouttet. At least KFC invests in infrastructure. At least KFC invests in infrastructure. The Doubles man set up a $200 MDF board box with ice cream bucket at channel under a tent next to a dirty drain, and it saves money for bottle of punching. he said it. They set up with MDF board box with ice cream buckets of channel under a tent next to a dirty drain and save money for bottle of punching or who knows what. How you have millionaire doubles, man, and not a single one has actually rented a structure. Yes, man, Alex. Or invested their profits into upgrading their business. Same with roti. Roti is same nonsense. Same with roti. Spanish come and start food business and have brand new building, and roti sellers haven't painted their building in 30 years selling food out of a rat hole. I say so. I think, from my little humble opinion, I feel like if this is the reason for the protest and not the price increase, they go all melt up into one, right? But we always head to the still issues. You see, that statement is a problem. That statement, because when you talk about doubles and roti, you're attacking a particular community who, based on population statistics alone, might be responsible for about 50% of your sales, close to 50. And I don't think you could say that when your last name is Mouttet. I don't think you could say that at all. I wonder if the family have a court-martial system. You think the Mouttet family have a court-martial thing where they have him locked up somewhere because he causing major... And I would have think it would have been Mouttet X. If I thought anything would have affected that family, I would assume it's Mouttet X. But Alex take win. Alex take win. Now, I do have some thoughts about doubles men and roti shops that I feel... Nowhere near in any alignment with what Alex Mouttet is saying, because this statement is offensive from several angles. I mean, you want to bring race into it and say that there's racism or classism. Whatever you want to say about that, it is uncouth. It is unwise. You could have just let that die down. Man would have been eaten back the fowl by now. Everybody would have been good. It's like, why make a statement like this? Especially when you had to make this statement and use disparaging remarks about particular groups of people who help build this society, who do a lot of work to help build the society. Me ain't so sure about the tax dollars part of the society, yeah? But certainly reinvestment in the community and creating a lot of, my philosophy about business. So I do have some thoughts about the doubles men and roti men, but not the kind of thoughts that would get me in any kind of level of trouble like your boy Alex Mouttet. But my long-winded and winding theory about KFC and the boycott is that boycott have way more to do with, as they say here, tasteless social media comments. I like the word tasteless. Tasteless social media comments rather than price increases. I do, however, believe I do, however, believe that it is not going to be long before SCA right and people start to carry the children back there and them children want the TGI. And I wonder if it's common knowledge of the businesses that they own other than KFC. Are people boycotting KFC but still buying Subway, or boycotting KFC and still going by TGI and them things? But when the hammer fall and and there's more trade, I think I can't remember the figure exactly. Tell me about how much 1,000 people doing SCA this year, and the SCA fall just around the time public servants get paid, who's the biggest employer and them things. Are starting to wonder whether or not the boycott days will be over. Do we have this stamina based on how offended we are now? Do we have this stamina to go a little further into it and stay away from the business and force them to? Because I'm not sure what we want out of the boycott if you make remarks that disparaging or tasteless. Is it that we taking the disparaging remarks and if you give me back the $10 off, we good with it and we cool? Or is it that we boycotting KFC because we taking it that this is the stance of the family? This is not much different from the original 1% statement that get people in an uproar the first time, right? And it would take some time for people to get, I mean, we still say 1% a lot, at least me. But it took some time for us to get back to the point where we're not deeply offended by the 1% community and everything they had to say. As Alex Mouttet carried us right back there. But I don't know. I really come to play some Johnny King. So let me play a Johnny King for you again. I don't know why I end up in a deep dive in Johnny King this week, but this particular song is one, as I mentioned, the SCA students, and I want to get into Terrence Nielsen comments on this KFC thing too. But before that, I want to tell you the SCA students, as we just at about 2 weeks away from SCA. I, as a man, remember like yesterday when I was going to do SCA and I was in preparation mode for SCA and common entrance then, and it's a little bit of a surreal period for me here that I see it. I live in an 11-year-old boy now who in preparation mode for SCA. And you're seeing him studying and doing the work and putting in his hours and going to bed late because he's up studying and he going to bed. He waking up early and going to school and he putting in the hours and getting the results. So I just wanted to play a little Johnny King for all the youths who would be in SCA mode and let them know that wherever he is now, he had 2 weeks to make that final push.
Life and no better roses. It's so hard to succeed. So contrary, so depressed are the stages to get the things that we need. All these conflicts and obstacles come to stay. Man must stand it. He can never run away. Time to stop the crying. Try a little trying. To achieve it the only way. That's why I say stand up, even though you're falling. Wake up and get you something. Don't stop. You gotta try and do what you're doing. Move on until you see the light. Don't let it out your side. Don't cry. You got to try. Little progress calls for much dedication, plenty hard work and grind. In your conquest, you have got to understand. Keep your goal in your mind. Don't fall over. Let your limits be the sky. Those who conquer are the ones who make a try. You must have a strong will if you're climbing up the hill or stay in the gutter and die. That's why I said stand up, even though you're falling. Wake up and get you something. Don't stop. You gotta try try and do what you're doing until you see the light. Don't let it out your side.
Don't cry.
You got to try. Yeah, yeah. When you're losing, don't be sorry for yourself. Never feel without hope. Try for something, put your worries on the shelf. Band your belly and cope. Remain cheerful in the midst of suffering, but be careful. Don't let starvation step in for your bread and butter. You must be a martyr. Always be determined to win. And then you just stand up, even though you're falling.
Wake up,
And get you something.
not stop.
You gotta try and do what you're doing
Move on,
until you see the light.
press on,
Don't let it out your side.
don't cry.
You got to try. Yeah, yeah. Don't let failure frustrate life and pull it down. Don't be colored by fear. Let it be your incentive to carry on. Forward and get your share. If you're drowning and the tide against you, keep on swimming. It's the only thing to do. Safeguard your survival. Don't give up on it at all. Perseverance will see you through. That's why you must stand up, even though you're falling.
Wake up,
And get you something.
not stop.
You gotta try and do what you're doing
Move on,
until you see the light.
press on,
Don't let it out your side.
don't cry.
You got to try. Yeah, yeah.
And better call for boycotts, right? A better call to stay away from the KFCs and the Subways of this world and so on. Surprisingly, came from he's a doctor? The great Terrence D'Alsing. He's still the Minister of Health, or that's just a COVID thing? Terrence D'Alsing has been on a little bit of a drive, should I say a drive? They say some local fast food companies continue to record historic profits. Health Minister Terrence D'Alsing is now condemning their products, but while the minister has spoken out about the dangers of fast food before, this time he is naming and shaming some of the brands for the role they play in worsening people's health. So he call out some brand names and things, right? And I mean, I a little wiser than to call the name. He could call name and think he salary guaranteed. He could like in government salary, that is money guaranteed. And all like me, so coming to beg for him to get more money last week, you know what I mean? So he all right with that concern. I will not call any names, but I will say that what I did see with the in a lot of the comments about KFC, or brought in a discussion from KFC as well, is the unhealthy eating habits that Trinidad and Tobagonians have. And you know, funny enough, this was one of the things that the anti-vax people, or the people who was not happy with the approach to management of COVID, was talking about in the first place. They were saying, why not also push the discussion about being healthier, eating healthier, exercising more, making sure that we keep ourselves in a position or away from a position where we going into things with comorbidities. So if you was to just take a little walk every day, eat a little less fast food, cut down on the grease, cut down on the sugar, cut down on the salt and them kind of things on a normal day, when before anything go wrong, then we could be in a position where we healthier and we could deal with any pandemic or any, at least give ourselves the best chance to deal with it rather than just defaulting to drugs. So it's like you use drugs right through, drugs in the form of flour and sugar and salt and all these kind of things, and then forcing us now to have to use drugs when they have some kind of issue going on. So I agree with Terrence the Elsing's take. I myself, I don't know how all you're doing, but I trying to change my ways, my dirty ways of eating a whole lot of fast food and thing. I try not to make Zachary into a fast food king myself. I ain't doing such a great job because you see when I home here and this man started to say he hungry. The first thing I be studying is to just WhatsApp these people and then bring things for me. But help is on the way, because I did see an article. There's something I'm following for a little while in the international news space or international pop culture, right? How much are you paying attention to Ozempic? Anybody ever hear the word Ozempic before? Know what Ozempic is? Or anybody know if that being widely used here or not? You know what I mean? Is it just me? Is it just a foreign thing? But I'm seeing more and more the idea of Ozempic. So I saw an article in the article old, right? It's from last year. But if you don't know, Ozempic apparently is a treatment that was used for people who would have had diabetes. If I remember reading right the first time I heard about it. And we reach a point now, at least in the States, where, because people, one of the side effects of it was apparently appetite control and by extension weight loss, right? So you're seeing a lot of stars using Ozempic, or hearing about a lot of stars who had used Ozempic. So when you see massive weight loss, apparently Ozempic was part of the thing. This is one of the side effects. You eat less, you feel for less things, and you lose the weight. And of course, celebrities historically have not been honest with how they have maintained their figure, right? If you remember back in the day, surgery used to be a hidden thing. People fix their body and fix their face and all these kind of things. And then they end up being people to which me and you aspire and feel like we could walk around Savannah and get them kind of body when them bodies well structured and put together like Lego. You know what I mean? Them is basically transformers. And this is another one of them cases, because I see Oprah Winfrey now having to or pulling back on her association with Weight Watchers. You remember, she was one of the people who drive Weight Watchers into being one of the biggest weight type of people they had. What is it called? Weight type of people? Whatever weight people they weight company. Me, you know what they're supposed to call that, no? But she was one of their owners and one of the biggest advocates for Weight Watchers and eating and portion control and all these different kind of things. Come to find out, Oprah and Ozempic. It's heavy injection Oprah taking and losing weight, right? So as it has always been, the celebrities don't always tell us the truth as to where it is happening. But I did find an article here, and I'm going to read it from the Express from last year. Ozempic and eating disorders. Why experts are raising concerns. Injectable prescription medications like Ozempic and Wegovy are in the news for their ability to help people lose weight. Some experts are raising concerns that the increased spotlight on these medications could contribute to eating disorders. Many people regain much of the weight they've lost after they stop using these medications, which can also lead to disordered eating and increased health risks. Semaglutide, better known by the brand names Wegovy and Ozempic, has been making headlines over the last several months for the medication's ability to help people lose weight. Only Wegovy is FDA approved for weight loss, though many people, including celebrities and online influencers, have been taking Ozempic off label for weight loss too. In fact, comedian Chelsea Handler says her doctor prescribed Ozempic in case she wanted to lose 5 pounds, and Elon Musk credited Wegovy for helping him lose weight. Some experts say that the conversation has its benefits. After all, trials, including a double-blind one in 2021, indicate that taking 2.4 milligrams of semaglutide once per week, combined with lifestyle changes, can help people lose weight. It's important to discuss some of these medications that might aid in weight loss and how these medications are used. Dr. Jenna Hemowitz, PhD licensed psychologist at Stony Brook Medicine and director of bariatric and weight loss psychology. Those eyes get frightened every time I see a big word come out. Eyes get frightened like hell. I don't understand why I be going through here. No? These decisions can hopefully address misinformation and ensure these drugs are prescribed thoughtfully, as medically indicated. Still, the discussion has become low-hanging fruit at the Oscars on March 12th during the broadcast. All right, so you get the point, right? So the idea is that a lot of celebrities using Ozempic, and as we typically do in Trinidad, if they bring out a new car in the States, expect to see the car down here. If they bring out a new TV show, expect it to be down here. So everything that happens everywhere, you tend to find that Trinidadians just pick it up. And I've seen over the years, like just following Instagram pages where BBLs and surgery and liposuction and mummy makeover and those things also starting to become more and more popular in Trinidad and Tobago. You know what I mean? Like I said last week, ask me how I know. You understand? People don't always tell you, well, I went and I do this and I went and I do that. But some people, you see that them things sitting, you know what I mean? It's just looking different from everybody else. And as a man, who cares? You know what I mean? I no concern of mine whether you get it in the gym or you get it in Venezuela or Colombia. It doesn't matter to me. And as we have more Venezuelan immigrants living here who it seems to be more of a way of life, or at least more accessible or affordable there, you're seeing more and more of it in our society. And I guess when you're looking for a mate, there's a competitive game. And when you're looking for a mate, you know what I mean? There's a jungle out there. So if everybody done up, you might feel a little more pressure to be done up. And if everybody's small and people like small thing, you might feel a little more pressure to start to become a small thing yourself. And it ain't easy, I could tell you. I trying to become a small thing for 40 years now. I trying to become a small thing. It ain't working. It's the amount of doubles and roti. And according to Alex Mouttet, all these little, too much of MDF board worth of doubles are eaten over the years that I can't outdone at all. So I would love to hear everybody's thoughts on this. Like, how y'all feel about this? Should I say everybody? A lot of us have these same struggles with weight and things. It's not just me, right? And you know what's funny about it? When I see pictures of myself from 10 years ago, I take in that and I was like, what? I wish I could get back to that size now. And but the thing about it is, like 10 years ago when I was that size, I was real unhappy with my size. I said, boy, my belly too big, I had to do some weight. And boy, listen, them beef pie and all these kind of things, these things is be calling me, you know, cheese pie. You eat 2 cheese and a beef, you know what I mean? Them things calling me. So can I just eat 2 cheese and a beef and get Ozempic and outdone? I want to let you know too that if you see me outdone fast, it's for podcast purposes. No, sometimes when I talk about things here, I want to do further research and say, you know what I mean? I like to come here informed and to tell the people what has happened. So who knows? One day you might come here and you see me looking small, you see me petite. I could be wearing the same clothes, you know. So when you see these clothes, observe them good. Watch how these clothes fit in. And maybe you could even go back to an old episode and see where it is really went on with that jersey and how it fits and how tight it was and them kind of thing and see how it fits in now. Because, if you feel me go out down. I see who was it? But there was one celebrity I was watching the other day where Van Layton. All you know Van Layton? There's a fella named Van Layton who used to be on TMZ. You would know him as the black fella from TMZ, not the Rasta one, the low hair one, but they end up firing him, right? or they part ways. But he was big and he outdone. And then he get big again and he outdone again. And I said watching him doing a little boxing and take on TV and I go, sign up for a boxing class. Box what? It's a box of Ozempic. So them men coming in. I did see also a call for article to ban skimpy costumes, but I spent way too much time on KFC, right? So I will blow past that. I do want to talk about these violent lyrics that they're talking about banning. So in the CARICOM heads of government meeting recently, it seemed to be a big part of the discussion in Chogam, the idea of banning violent lyrics or doing something about the violent lyrics that we had, right? So we saw in the past several, if you want to call it Trinidad or local dancehall or regional dancehall artists being banned from different islands in the country saying, listen, all they can perform that here because the lyrics not edifying and it promoting and encouraging violence and them kind of things. And I want to revisit that, right? Because I on record here saying that I don't think there's much value in banning violent lyrics or anything like that. I do feel like an artist does and should reflect what the society has. So unless the society fixing, you can't blame the artist for the level of violence. Now, I am one to talk about a lot of things and take some heavy stances on things, but I'm also one to change my mind over time. And when more information comes, I have no problem going back on what I said back in the day. So, let me just read real quick. This is from TV6, right? It says, condemn and restrict violent lyrics, but no ban. The Prime Minister says that lyrics that promote violence ought to be condemned. However, Dr. Keith Rowley said to ban something is to simply make it more attractive to those who want to use it. And a ban will not be effective at this time of social media, but the Prime Minister did use the word restrict with regard to public spaces and airwaves. This after President Guyana called on his fellow CARICOM leaders to take the matter of violent and vulgar lyrics seriously. So the Ufan and anything Ufan Ali say, I find he right? Let me just put that on record, right? Between Ufan Ali and Mia Motley, anything them say, I agree with off the bat. Before they say it, I agree, right? But Ufan Ali was saying that the music that must represent the region is the lyrics of Bob Marley and so on, and these kind of things. I just want us to remember that some of the music that Bob Marley was singing was music of rebellion and so on. So I don't know how well received that was in the day. And we have a way that people are immortalized differently from how we treat them when they're living, right? So I'm not sure, I was not alive in that era, but there's a possibility that the reverence that we have for Bob Marley today is not the same reverence that we'd have had when he was alive. You get me? Sometimes when you die young, martyrdom is a hell of a thing, and all of a sudden you remember as this great philosopher and this promoter of love and so on, when in fact when you was here, people didn't like what you was singing and they find you anti this and anti that. But anyway, I understand where Ufan Ali is coming from. And on the topic of our local dancehall and what it does, right? Again, as I always say, you had to let these youth sing what they sing and a certain amount of freedom of expression for artists and so on. And I usually say as well, I went out this weekend, right? I come out my house a little bit, you know what I mean? Stretch my legs. And I went to a little spot named Avala. And as I say, once you're lineman with Ian Allen is, you're good to go. Things is good, you know what I mean? You're having a great time once Ian Allen is on the scene, right? So I went to Avala. Me know Avala is a club. I only used to see Avala on food drop as an option to buy food. But apparently, if the restaurant business isn't going so good, one of the things you could do is fat in the night, right? So we tried to go La Penca, which is my little spot. La Penca has so much a line and so many people trying to go in. We say, all right, you can fall in the Avala. Well, Avala, I would say is, how could I describe the crowd? It's in a rough, that crowd is a good boy crowd. I could put it like that, it's a good boy crowd. This is a crowd of people who their parents have money. Bye, Sonia. Have a good day.
Love you, bye.
Okay, love you. Yeah, the parents have a little money, them working good jobs, good little upper middle class people. I see my boy Plumber, in the Plumber on the hunt. Plumber married? Plumber wasn't on the hunt, right? Plumber wasn't on the hunt. But people having a time inside there, but I could tell you this, right? Young and old, because I see some kind of old man and some young thing doing like that's a spot. If you're old and you're a young thing, go Vala, right? Or if you're looking. No Plumber, right? But when them gangster music and them come on, I want to tell you that these youths inside there, singing them thing word for word, they know every lyric inside there, right? And I always say that, you know what I mean? I hear people make that argument as well that, well, for some people, let's say the music we grew up on wasn't as violent as this. I don't agree with that at all. I think the music we grew up on was equally violent, if not more violent in some cases. I think the music we listened to was equally vulgar. Now, I don't want to say equally vulgar because then people, only go back and listen to the last week's episode and you'll hear what equally vulgar mean. When I say equally vulgar, I'm using vulgar and violent as a threshold because society usually has some things they could accept, but the threshold is usually pushed. So you cannot really compare one era to the next because when you listen to what we listened to back then, you listen to the Bounty Killer and the Mad Cobra and the Ninja Man and these fellas and the Merciless and them back then, compared to what they're singing now, it is sung tame, right? But it only sung in tame because you're comparing it from then to now. You're comparing your old 40-year-old years to what you was hearing back then. The point is, it's not so much comparison of time to time, it's comparison of what the threshold was back then. When we were in the 90s, the threshold for what was considered vulgar was lower than it is now, which is normal. That has happened. It will be even worse, if you want to say worse, when 20 years from now, when we are grandchildren, you will be shocked at what I'm wearing and what they're listening to and them thing, right? The point is, if the threshold is here and you go past the threshold, then you are extremely vulgar in the time that you're, extremely violent. And it's the same with the youths now. It comes across as extremely vulgar and violent. Because as you roll, youths has pushed the boundary. Youths rebellious. That's what's happened. That is what is. It needs to happen for society to evolve, right? Whether you like it or not. But so I don't see the music we was listening to is any different. I listen to all the Bounty Killer or Bad Man kill for fun, and I never feel to kill for fun and thing. But I could say it is Pomena energy and a spirit, right? It is Pomena kind of energy and a spirit. Where Whatever is the closest you come to killing, I come as close, which is real far, but I come close to that when I drive. You know, bad man kill for fun. No perplex me gun. It have an energy and a spirit, and I will admit that. And if your other influences are not great in life, right? Like I had influences of parents on both sides of my family. I had influences of several aunts and uncles. I had influences of several cousins. And you know what I mean? I, as a man, was never of that. I was never going to go down that road. I was never going to be on no badness from the time. You know, when you're on the block, right? I like to line on the block. Yeah, I want to be a part of I just want to line with my friends, with youths, right? But when the block starts to get hot and badness starts to come, or certain man starts to come with certain energy, I get just as frightened as I get when I see big words on the screen in front of me here, right? I get frightened. I want to go home. I don't like certain kind of trouble, right? But that in me because of several factors, like plenty to do with upbringing and community and all that. Now, where the society, not everybody have them same opportunities, or everybody have the same upbringing or the same peers that I would have had, right? I also had peers. I always remember a fellow named Carlos. Salute to Carlos, right? Carlos, a man, grew up in St. James, was a older fellow than me and thing. And Carlos was, to me, right? I watching Carlos as I don't want to say Carlos is no gangster, but I watching Carlos as a man who could defend it and who ain't afraid nobody and them kind of thing, you know what I mean? And I always remember Carlos used to run me home all the time. Carlos used to say, boy, go home and check. Well, number one, I can't lie, my Fatima uniform, right? I used to get mad. Carlos said, boy, go home and change that uniform. If you want to come back out, you can come back out, but go home and take. And then he would also, even if I'm not in uniform, and I know that back in the days when certain men are wrong or certain things happening that I would have never know because I was never a part of it. Carlos used to rough me up. Carlos said, go home. You know, you can't lie me. You know, mother and them, go home. And I just, maybe a couple of years ago, I went to carry my car to wash and Carlos come talking to me. And it was so weird because he, you know, see talking, but like he ain't saying nothing. Just say, Corey, boy, I'm glad to see you, boy, Corey, boy. I said, boy, Carlos, I'm so glad to see Carlos then too. And one of the things he's saying, it take me a while to understand or connect the dots. Carlos was saying, boy, you was always a good little youth, you know, you was always a good youth. And he's basically saying he's a good boy. He's not no bad boy, although I find I was bad, to be telling the truth. Our badness. But he's saying he's a good boy. And what he was saying in the moment there is, I'm glad to see you stick along that part of being good and you're doing good and you know what I mean? You could see you doing better, you're living on your own, you're married, you're a child, you know what I mean? Whatever he's put together as success in his mind. And I had to tell him, it took me a while to put together what you're saying, and I was like, and then it kind of thing, and I was like, Carlos, well, boy, thanks for always watching out for me. Because what he do is he protect me from certain things. On the block have its own energy. My mother working, my father down south. So nobody know what I doing when I gone. But Carlos come like a next parent in a way, or elder brother or a bigger cousin. Or OG, you used to say, right? Who telling me, nah, they enough for you. Don't slip into that. You have too much opportunity, too much things going for you. Forget that. Though I had a cousin named Danger. I want to be wrong, Danger. He's like, nah, you go your own way. Don't forget that. What you doing now? I remember lining up in Bellevue by Colonel. Carlos calling me one side. What you doing up here, boy? What you doing? I said, nah, I'm a friend and thing. When he watches a man going fatty man thing and he love that. So it's like I listening to Bounty Killer, but I wrap up in cotton. You understand? I listen to badness and I want to hear all the badness in the world. Because the badness I listening to for me is a fantasy. I listen to violence and vulgar music and things as a fantasy in my mind. It's something that, you know, it's like watching a shootout movie or a kick up and thing. I just weigh that bad and thing and shoot and he roll. And that is a fantasy. It's not a reality for me. But the unfortunate situation we have here, and why I had to take back my words on some of these things, is that some of the youths know the badness and the thing is not the fantasy. It is their real life. I talk about both the artists, I talk about producer and consumer, both who making the song and those who singing the song. So while we in a Valor and Ian Allen, I should say that, but Ian Allen are licensed firearm and them, and you're feeling like any point in time with the badness music playing, you feel like Ian Allen could bust 2 shots in the ceiling. That's what they kind of vibe I'm talking about. But that is a different kind of energy because the energy in there is fantasy-like. Whereas the blocks and some of the hottest spots in the country, when them music played, it is a reflection of what we just do yesterday or what we're going and do a boy tomorrow or the life that we actually live in. And where where the community failing, I'm gonna put it like that, right? Because boy, when I look back at it now, my community was huge. My community was huge. I went the other day and I see Father Gregory, huge part of my community, because Father Gregory see me as a youth who like to get trouble and like to make joke and like to talk in class and I like the little thing, but he also see, I don't know what he's seeing me up to today, where he say, let me wrap some cotton around this boy. And make sure that he good. So when it's time to repeat and I ain't pass my 5 subject and then he bring me back in Fatima. If it's not for he, I'm not getting to repeat though. When we looking to get trouble and think he insulates we from that, he put we in some more cotton. He say, oh, they don't go in study hall, or they will get in trouble. Come in the priest library, or they will stay there. You know what I mean? I get wrapped up in cotton from so much. Father Gregory is a complete stranger to me. He don't bong to do none of that. You understand? Carlos ain't bong to do none of that what he doing for me. That a Rasta incident, I never forget him. I don't know the man's name, you know, but thing happened with men and compre men and thing, and I frightened, but I had to play brave, right? I walking from Fatima and then walking past compre men who going home was always a risk, right? That was that could have get dark fast. My mother and my father, my cousins, nobody not wrong, you know. But something happened, and a man telling me something, Rasta man come in and say, hey, naughty, let you go home. You know what I mean? So when you're wrapped up and insulated in cotton like that, you listening to the badness as an escape. You know what I mean? You listening to give your life some edginess and some rock star kind of qualities to your life and things. That is an escape for you. So what happens in areas or parts of society where they have no cotton at all? People, rather than wrapping you in more cotton, they unwrapping the cotton from you. Rather than pulling wool over your eye, they pulling it off your eye to show you a different kind of life. Even going as far as to fuel it by some drugs, so that I had the fear in me and thing, but I had no drugs. I was completely sober growing up as a youth, as a teenager, completely sober. No tobacco, no alcohol, no kind of drugs. So what happens in the parts of society now where we fail the youth and all the cotton wrap off for them and all the world pull off of their eye and they see in the world for what it is, you know, like Adam and them when they eat the apple, remember that story? So they see the world different, so they see very limited hope, and so their whole life become a couple 100 square meters, a few blocks and a shop down. So that is their whole life, and their whole prospects in life become, if I could do this or commit this act or do this thing and take this from somebody or take somebody's life or whatsoever the thing might be, and that become a reasonable discussion because that is all you're wrong. Then I had to say that maybe it's time to address what happened to the music and to do 2 things one time, because one of my criticisms of Patrick Manning back in the day was that the Vision 2020 was a good document when we was watching it in 2006, 7 and them kind of time. It's a great document and it's something that we could follow, but the issue is that it largely address long-term development of the country, but hunger is not a long-term problem. Hunger had to fix 3-4 times a day, right? Or for me, like 6, 7, 8 times a day it had to fix for me, right? So it's the same thing here. Yes, we had a fixed society where there's more elements. So if the parents or the household fail, we had to make the society in a way where the Carlos of the area could still wrap around a cotton, or the church, or the school, or whatsoever the other elements, the music, the panyard, the husayard, whatever the things are, could give you that cotton that the family not giving you. Yeah, if that making sense. But while we fixing those elements of the society, there are plenty youths who are falling by the wayside, and the music seems to be at the core of it. So while the music for us in Avala is an escape from our life, we can be born in socks and grow up on carpet, and we want to feel a little edgy every now and again. But after we feel that edginess, we jump in Porsche and BMW and Benz and things. That's all they see in park up outside of Avala, you know. You understand? And we going home to soak in a tub with bath bombs and so on, you know what I mean? And heavy air conditions, your window don't even open, all them window in the house seize up. And you drive past security and you say, Mama, good night, all right, okay, ha ha ha, yeah, yeah, yeah. And you go home, right? And you insulate you, so you get even more cotton around you. And then again, the youth left there with their reality that is not a fantasy. Right? And they don't have enough to fantasize to get away from that either, or to dream or to have ambition to get away from it. Then we have an issue in the society, especially when, as I say, it's both producer and consumer. Because I've seen someone CNC3 here saying, when I say producer and consumer, the men who making the music as well as those who listen to the music have an issue, because CNC3 saying here, a local recording artist appeared before the North High Court yesterday after he was arrested and charged under the Anti-Gang Act. Now, I don't want to be oblivious or be naive to say that everybody the police pick up wrong, and I don't want to be preemptive and say if a man charged with something, that don't mean he guilty of the thing. But you're starting to see more and more where Trinidad artists are being fingered or accused or even rumored to be involved in nefarious activity. You're seeing people who involved in the music business, like so my guy from Premier Studios who talks about this kind of thing a lot, saying that these artists not making the kind of money of the music that their lifestyle reflected. So let me read from Rhonda Dowlat, right? Meds boss Joseph Oliveri appeared before Magistrate Margaret Sukraj Goswami in the North High Court on Monday, charged under the Anti-Gang Act for being a member of a gang. He was granted 40,000 bail with surety. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service said in a media release that the charges follow extensive investigations by the SIU gang enforcement team that focused primarily on videos posted on social media groups promoting gang violence and gang culture. Commissioner of Police earlier, Christopher Harewood, or something like that, said this case underscores our unwavering commitment to address and combat the promotion of gang-related activities, particularly through influential figures in the entertainment industry. Sometimes better than say no. The lure of gangs is pervasive as gang culture is portrayed as glamorous and the in thing. While we know otherwise, gang life is a direct pathway to poverty, prison, and an early grave, as young men are mere pawns who are easily replaced. Okay, so that's true, right? Intellectually and theoretically, that is true. Gang life is a pathway to prison and poverty and all those things. But we had to also admit that gang life is a pathway to enormous wealth too that the average working person cannot achieve in their lifetime, or probably will not achieve in their lifetime. I like to hear people talk about these things because I want you to add up the minimum wage and then put the minimum wage man to work 10 jobs a day at 8 hours a day and see how much money he carry in a month. Versus if you decide to get a little thing and get a link and sell a little thing here or make a little move and bust. These people making multiples. This is what I was talking about last week. You have a commissioner of police who making $30,000 meeting with criminals who making $30,000 in a day. Is she taking a month to make that? So we must tell them that, listen, poverty and prison, and yes, you're a pawn, but we must also address the fact that you could live real sweet, even if it's for a short time on this thing. And a part of the decision is, if I had no cotton wrap around me and life done rough for me already, you don't find it's like a reasonable, or you can see where it might be a reasonable decision to see if I could take this very small chance. The chance is small, right? I'm not stupid. I know the chance small too. But I could rise to the top of this thing, make enormous wealth. And even if I dead, but no, I might sure and never have to go through that in life again. What we going to do? We're going to pretend like that is not an option or that is not a real thing. That's a real thing. People do this all the time. And I go Miami, I go lineman in the sport. I go in the strip club in Miami. Every time we go, we lineman. These girls, it's a fast cash is an attractive thing. And some of these girls is attractive people. But the TTPS will continue to work tirelessly to protect our citizens, especially young and vulnerable, who also fall victim to gang violence and culture that we vow to stamp out from our communities. I don't think the police could. There's only so much that the police could do about gang violence. The police reactive. Police are to react to when a crime committed, or I mean, a part of them is to make sure that their presence avoids the committing a crime and thing. But to me, if you are youth and the best option you see is a gang, then your options too limited. And as a society, we had to address that. Where did it say? Oliver's arrest or Olivier? Olivier's return on Olivier's arrest came a month after police charged another Trinidad artist, Cayman 6, with being a member of a gang and possession of ammunition. He was granted $40,000 bail with a surety when he appeared before Magistrate Margaret Sukraj Goswami. So again, more and more, and there was a whole, is a whole back and forth about the idea of Swanee and what Swanee doing and what he involved in and whether he living here or he living there or which part he is and them kind of types of things. So it's more of it's more of that. I'm glad that the top levels in the society, despite my own beliefs, seem to be willing to address the idea of the lyrics and how ubiquitous they are. I was really glad to hear Dr. Rowley say you can't ban it, because the ban thing, I don't know how you're banning youths from what they're listening to on their phone, or if you're gonna make it where they can't download it, or they can't play. Where we going to China route, where Apple Music and Spotify and YouTube now have limited things in Trinidad, they could only show censored music and stuff. I don't think the solution is to bury our heads in the sand. But he did say that, okay, we're gonna stop it from public spaces and coming across the airwaves. I don't think most of it could play on the airwaves now anyway, based on our laws. But if you stop it and you identify in public places, even if that does not directly do anything for the crime situation in terms of, okay, then look, I no longer hear it on the radio, mean less youths will be involved in crime. I think it's an important stance that Chogam taken to say that while you could sing this and we can stop only from listening to it and only go and find it on your phone or wherever it is, we as a government or as a people want to disassociate ourselves from this level of thinking or this level of creativity that you have and this these types of topics that you sing about. I feel like it's not a bad stance to take. So it's one to continue to monitor. Listen, I get out of here now because I go to work. I don't think will keep me here whole day, because if I stay here any longer, crime could be an option. I could leave only with a couple more Johnny Kings before I go. I was supposed to reach. I'll tell you something, right? Let me take a look behind the curtain. Let me tell you what I had to talk about today. I was supposed to talk about Jack Warner brokering peace with Kamla, and a whole thing I had on that. Dolce, a whole set of them get released. So, Dolce brothers get released from prison. I was going to talk about water racket and the shock that was associated with that. I was getting there. Also, Randy Glasgow creating a new calypso competition for chutney soca artists. I was supposed to go on to talk about all them things, but the way KFC set up and KFC being as important as it is in our society, that is all I talk about for the episode. So I gotta hold that and all I gotta hold that for now. Let me just get to some Johnny and get out of the way, and we go come back together next week and talk about it, right? Only forgive me. Live with me. Another young man, right? Yes.
A week but I'm holding on in order to stay around in a life therapy imbalance. For it is nature's way until judgment day. Weakness ain't got a chance. Playing strong cause I realize the price little one must pay to keep the big one in paradise. This torment and misery all day. Destruction of the weak is nature's plan. The humble and the meek must understand. This day of the strong man is the devil's day. So they will bite the ground when the master plays. As long as you have the cash and all your strings attached, you're on earth but living in heaven. There's nothing for the poor or as evermore. Life in a lion's den. Hungry man shall aspire to keep the high man on top, to take him higher and higher. The poor one must struggle till he drop. Destruction of the weak is nature's plan. The humble and the meek must understand. This day of the strong man is the devil's heyday. So they will bite the ground when the master play. Down in South Africa, white men with gun power have the natives under subjection. The black majority live in poverty, all because they ain't strong. Black man life is a utopia. Nature make him a slave. South Africa is a nightmare for colours from cradle to the grave. Destruction of the weak is nature's plan. The humble and the meek must understand. This day of the strong man is the devil's heyday. So they will bite the ground when the master play. Dun, dun, da, da, da. Dun, dun, da, da, da.
I could play one more probably before I go. One of the greatest Johnny King. I'm leaving all the party ones because I'm feeling like I play I Want It all the time here many times before. I'm feeling like I play Wet Me Down many times before here too. But this one I don't think I ever play.
Strive to be happy. Relentless search for luxury. In search of peace and happiness, the human mind wouldn't rest. A constant nag within we soul, demanding respect from the world. Get the urge in different form, but luxury is the norm. Money is very essential, but can't buy peace of mind at all. We still like dogs without a bone if we have the money alone. Because appreciation plays on the human mind. Everyone needs some for happiness all the time. Because importance, if we are drive to live, everyone's on the hunt. Every man ought to give generously. The feeling has no barrier. Race and class doesn't matter. Once you are alive, you in the game. You do anything to get a good name. Some wealthy men turn to suicide. Can't find food to feed their pride. The aged and crippled in the ring fight to feel like a king. Children become delinquents for lack of love from their parents. That's why appreciation is most important to man. Appreciation plays on the human mind. Everyone needs some for happiness all the time. Because important, if we are drive to live, everyone's on the hunt.
Every man ought to give generously.
Solution to bad industrial relations. Employees will gladly draw their pay and do the job half the way. When workman feeling unwanted, the working spirit is daunted. He comes on the job and fool around. Production going down. Just make him feel significant. You get him do anything you want. A pat on the back is the best move for relations to improve. Appreciation based on the human mind. Everyone needs some for happiness all the time. Because important, if we are drive to live, everyone's on the hunt. Every man ought to give generously.
It is important, every man ought to live. Every man ought to give generously. Listen, I showing my appreciation for you. Thank you for coming out here every week. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in 175 times no reaching places. Enjoy your week. Have a safe and productive week. I'll see you all right back here next week. Bye.
Life is lonely without it. Each one should give a little bit. Do what you want your neighbors do, then life on earth will be true. Take a tip from the scripture. Appreciate one another. Share your love and make the mold for total peace in the world.
Appreciation
based on the human mind. Everyone needs some for happiness all the time. Because important, if we are drive to live, everyone's on the hunt. Every man ought to give generously.